Hi, Year 5s and 6s, and welcome to session 3 of our work based on the film The Piano. And today's waltz says to use a variety of sentences to entertain the reader. Now, what we're going to do today is use the planning that you've done yesterday, and we're going to try and write our first 2 paragraphs. And whilst we're doing it, we're going to try and vary the types of sentences that we use to keep our reader interested. So the first 2 paragraphs will be your introduction, which will be the man on the piano and meeting the character of Grandad. But we're going to write in the first person. So we're going to write as I, he'll be writing as himself. And then we're going to write about his memory of his wife. That'll be our second paragraph. Now, the thing is about this piece of writing, this narrative, is it's not chronological, it doesn't go in order. So in our introduction, this is the present where he's playing the piano. But as you'd have seen yesterday and the day before, he then has a flashback and he goes back to a time when his wife was with him. Obviously, his wife's no longer with him. So it's a memory and it's a flashback to things that have happened before. So we're going to have some time shifts going on here, which is a little bit tricky to do when you're writing a narrative. So just to start us off, I thought, because he's in the present, we might start off something like this. I often sit alone playing my grand piano. You notice he's alone, so there's that sense that he's quite lonely. The music comforts me and reminds me of my treasured memories of both love and loss. So this is telling you there'll be happy as well as sad memories involved. It tells the story of my long life and the happiness and sadness within my heart. And you notice I use the words long life there because he is quite old when we see this animation and he's looking back to times in his life when he was younger. Now, as you've seen in the last 2 lessons, the music that goes with the film, it links with the mood of each paragraph. So I'm going to start my second paragraph here with the sound of the piano reminds me of sitting next to my beloved wife. So I've mentioned the piano here. I'm mentioning it again in the second paragraph, but I'm thinking about that soft music that he's playing. You might want to describe the music in a little more detail there. The sound of the piano reminds me of sitting next to my beloved wife, playing the piano as if we were one person. She knew me so well that we were able to play a tune without either of us needing to say who would play each note. Whenever she sat next to me, it filled me with such joy that I would grin from ear to ear. I always felt immensely comforted by her presence. If I close my eyes, I can feel her next to me once again. And if I really concentrate, I can feel her warm lips on my cold cheek. Yet when the melody changes, I am brought back to the cold dining room. And once again, I am alone with only my memories for company. So this first memory is a happy one. And you probably noticed in this video, he imagined his wife was there, but she wasn't really there. It was just a memory. And he's left when the music changes back by himself again. So it's a happy memory that he goes back to. So just going to have a look at this and see how different sentence structures have been used here. So this first quite short paragraph here is telling us it's set in the scene, it's telling us it's set in the present. Here he is playing the piano, and then here is the flashback to the memories. You see it changes when it begins. The sound of the piano reminds me of sitting next to my beloved wife. Straight away the reader knows that this is something that's in the past. Right, in terms of using different sentence types, you'll notice that we've used pronouns here to open some sentences. So here we've got it, that's referring back to music in the sentence before. And this sentence here begins with she, that's referring back to his beloved wife that was in the sentence before. In red, I've underlined the main clauses in the sentences. So if you focus on this one here, it says, the sound of the piano reminds me of sitting next to my beloved wife. That's your main clause. Then you've got a comma to separate your clauses, and it says, playing the piano as if we were one person. This is a subordinate clause. It gives you some extra detail. If you like, it acts like a servant to this main clause. And you notice that there are other main clauses underlined in red, like this one. It filled me with such joy that I would grin from ear to ear. But before that, there is this clause, a subordinate clause, whenever she sat next to me, comma. And you'll notice that is an adverbial because it's telling you when something happened. There's another example of that down here. Another thing you can do is use if sentences where one thing relies upon another. So in this example here, it says, if I close my eyes, and then you've got your main clause, I can feel her next to me once again. It's quite emotional, isn't it, this paragraph? Right, today's task is for you to have a go at writing your first 2 paragraphs. To use this video to help you, you can always replay it and press pause. And don't forget to refer back to that plan that you wrote yesterday, because you've got all your detail there. So it's just paragraph 1 and 2 today, the introduction, and then the flashback, a link to that flashback of the memory of his wife sitting next to him. And we'll leave it there and we'll pick it up again tomorrow. I'll see you then. Bye now.